Hello, it's so good to be back on the update today.
Yeah.
My name is Sylvia Ishibi.
I am Machi Brindap.
And I am Ihoma Okeji.
I'm Hilda Katu.
I love how you say that. You look at it.
Yes.
All right, welcome to the update. We are going to do something special on the show today, and that is you contributing and we reading it.
Sure. But of course, you know that the update is a program where we highlight trends from the week, the top news making headlines, and we bring it to you so that we get your opinion, as Sylvia said, contribute to the issues, and we discuss it here on the program.
Yes. So today on the update, we look at topical issues that have made the headlines in the past few days and even today. Some of such are Nigerian police debunks Ameerah's kidnapping claims in Abuja, and protest ensues following Reverend Father Mbaka's Adoration Ministry shutdown and the bishop's ban. Presidential candidates pick placeholders to beat INEC's deadline. And also, we'll be looking at Burna Boy. Something is happening. And yes, a married lady involved in the Lagos club shooting has spoken, and she is calling out Burna Boy and Club Cubana. All right, these are the stories we'll be looking at today. We move on to the first story.
All right, but first of all, just so you know how you can contribute, we are Click Niger on YouTube and on Facebook, and we are Click Niger One on Twitter and Instagram. Share your comments under the live videos on Facebook and YouTube at the moment, or send us a personal message.
Yes.
Well, the FCT Police Command has disclosed that they have found the missing Abuja girl, Ameerah Sufyan, who claimed to have been kidnapped alongside 17 others.
Yes, it was a sad story when we saw it. I mean, I did retweet that.
Very
that
scary,
SOS.
very scary
Yes.
kind of scenario. I mean,
Yes.
you're kidnapped from home, not on the street,
Yes.
or you
yes.
traveling.
Yeah, so she claimed that people dressed in police uniforms came to her houses and knocked and they were taking people. And she was sharing her location, even saying her VPN was on. And then
There was a voice note that
notes.
came afterwards, because she had shared her location a couple of times. So a voice note came afterwards. But then what didn't make sense to most people in that voice note was that it started by saying, my VPN is on, before it goes on to say, I am in a, she now started speaking Arabic at some point too, saying she was in Lagos and all that. And then people were like, okay, so it just didn't make sense, like almost as she didn't know that they're recording or something funny like that, and it just the whole thing. Her VPN, her location details were showing Jos at some points, but yes, Kaduna State, and so that's it. There was just a lot of things here in it, so people reacted and they called on the Nigerian police, to attend to it, and later on the Nigerian police came up with the debunking of the story, and there were so many details that came up afterwards.
Yes, I think what stood out for me was, the police. We are in an era of insecurity, and there's a lot going on right now that the police are under pressure to solve crime, and someone now comes and gives what seems like a false alarm, making the police waste their limited resources, and it was also expose them to public ridicule, because when it was taking police long to find her, people started saying, "Oh, the police is incompetent. They don't know how to do their jobs." All those kinds of things. But now it has now turned out that it could have been a false alarm.
A lot of things comes to mind when the real SOS comes on. People wanting help.
Yes.
People might not be willing to help because of what just occurred. You remember the train
victim.
Yeah, people just felt she wanted attention, the place, and God rest her soul, she's no more today.
Yes.
And that was why people were reluctant to
pick holes. Yes,
because they didn't want to be like, oh, in case it's true, it's true. They will not be found on the wrong side of history if she is telling the truth.
Well, after the whole noise and everything, I think people on their own started asking questions, because number one, the tweeting was
without
actually
mistake.
No
accurate.
errors.
Yes, no errors, no shorthand. It was very,
Yes,
concise.
very accurate.
Battery
Number
did not
two,
die.
the battery did not die. Did she go with her charger?
Those were questions.
So,
people
yeah.
Yeah, you understand. Eventually, people started adding up to one.
But it now makes you wonder, why did she do this? You know, there were rumors. People said she was trying to avoid the situation at home. That was why she wanted to make people believe she had been kidnapped, to be able to avoid that scenario that was happening on that day. You know, some people are even saying, what if it was some kind of, because she's a psychology student,
a project?
Yes, some kind of
A
project. Yes.
She's writing a project.
So who she's not using Nigerians as her
Well,
to
guinea
see how
pig. Really?
to
The
see
response
how
rate.
the response rate will be.
Oh, well, now she knows.
Well, we would have
We need
to
more
wait.
updates from the police.
Yes,
We would
the
have
police,
to
the
hear
police
and
will
wait for the
definitely
police.
for more updates, but
For
they have
more.
given us some updates, you know,
Yes, I
as
need to understand
issue
why she
happens.
did what she
Why,
did.
yes,
That's
why
what,
now?
That's what we're waiting to hear.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So when the police debunked this kidnapping claims by Ameerah, they also said that they found out that she's in the hospital undergoing some medical checkup, which
It's
is
a
standard.
routine.
Yes, it's routine, as demanded by global best practices. So let's hope that something comes out of their investigation, because it's still ongoing. And when the updates comes, we will bring it on this table. All right, we move to the next story. But let's not forget, you're free to drop your comments. We see you watching.
Yeah.
Drop your comments, and then we will take it. If you have any questions, you can ask, and we will treat your comments. All right. So another story is the Reverend Father Mbaka's story that shook the internet a little bit. So much.
So
And
next set is still
It's still
a bit.
shaking it. Yes,
Yeah.
this happened yesterday. There was a protest
Yes.
that happened following the ban by the Bishop of Enugu Diocese, Bishop Callisto Sonaga, on the Adoration Ministry, because Mbaka actually made some political statements towards Peter Obi, calling him a stingy man, and that Nigeria does not need a stingy man as a president. It has escalated to the point where there was a protest yesterday.
Yes, but Father
The
Mbaka, yes,
Father
was the one
Mbaka,
who said, yeah,
the closed the
Adoration
adoration
ministry.
ministry,
Okay.
not the bishop.
No, the bishop, banned Catholics from
So
going to
going
the ministry.
to the
yes,
ministry.
so then,
Yes.
And
Thank
he
you
also
for that.
has also apologized to.
Yes,
That's the
and
most
blessed him.
important
yes,
thing
he
about it.
actually apologized after the whole thing blew up. You know, so the protest happened, and you know, it's like, okay, people were wondering, why should this be closed, and there were a lot of people at the location, you know, making their grievances known on the issue.
I think this speaks to the arguments about whether religion should be separated from the church.
Of course,
Because-
it should.
That's
because
politics, you mean, from the
yes,
church.
politics. Because politics is a very divisive thing in Nigeria.
Mhm.
People are always fighting, killing each other over political actors, and having men of God give their 2 cents on every political issue could also help to inflame
Yeah.
more passions.
So
Like we have
yeah.
seen now. Look at
Yes.
the kind of reactions, people that are supporting him, people that are against him, and everything is just almost as embarrassing and blowing up on the faces of even the face of the person that made those comments.
Yeah, so but like we said, he apologized to Peter Obi, so that is settled, you know.
Yes,
Yes.
settled,
But then the
yes.
fact that the fallout from this
Yes.
is where, like you
they're
said,
still
you know,
protesting all
politics
those-
and the church,
Church.
you probably have
We have to
very
draw a line.
Yes, a place to draw the line.
Yes.
All right. So yes, like we said, you can always contribute to any of the stories as we go on. Remember, we are Click Niger on YouTube and on Facebook. We are Click Niger on Instagram and Twitter. All right.
Okay, so we will see. What do you think should come out of this? Yes, the protest has happened, and the Adoration Ministry is still shut down. And then there's this ban also on Catholics visiting the crowd. So with all this playing out, you tell us what you think about the story. If you are for Adoration Ministry, open up. Bishop on ban. Let us know, and we will take your story. But speaking about Peter Obi came up with an INEC deadline of June 17th for them to pick their presidential candidates, to pick their vice presidential running mates, they call it. Yeah, so they came up with Doyin Okupe for the Labour Party. Peter Obi picked Doyin as a placeholder. I mean, this is my first time, but we won't hear this.
Me too.
Placeholder.
I mean, like,
Yes.
but apparently it's a thing.
Yeah,
we learn every day.
Yes, it's as the electoral law permits that.
Okay, so what exactly is a placeholder? Who exactly is it?
Okay, he's just holding the ticket till the
real person, the real owner.
There
There is a deadline, and they have to reach that deadline.
Yes.
Deliberating to get the vice president, they have to look at other things that will play out and help them win this particular election. So they can't do it in a hurry.
All right, and then the other party, we have the APC also. They picked, and that's Bola Ahmed Tinubu picked
Kabiru Masari.
yes as his own placeholder too.
Placeholder.
Yeah, that's
It's not
specific.
placeholder.
Yes.
It's only PDP that chose their
That
own
chose that,
Yes, yes.
running mate.
Before the deadline.
Yes.
So do you
even
think
well
that
before.
this gives Atiku an edge over his opponents?
Well, some people have said yes. This shows that these people were not prepared. I mean, the other parties. Like you know, you're going to contest for presidency, and you don't have somebody you're going to work with. But if you look at the dynamics of what has played out over the past few weeks, you won't really blame them.
Anyone, yes, because there are changes along the way.
Politics
Party
is
changes.
politics. You allow somebody play his best card and you play your last
So it's a
card.
game.
Yes, so it's also a
it is game.
strategy.
Yes, you play your best card. Already, there's always an advantage and a disadvantage for being the first. You being the first, you start working on what to do,
Yes, okay.
how
A
to
good head
capture
start,
your yes. While you have the last one, you want to see is this your best move, and you play your own. So on both sides, it might be a win-win for them.
For them, yeah, an advantage either way. All right then. So I guess that's it. But if you want to react to the story, you can send your comments, or we'll take it as we go.
Okay, so we move on to it is an entertainment story, but at the same time we give you the update. So this lady, a married woman, by her name is
Briella,
Briella.
Animi Briella.
Yeah,
Animi
so
Briella.
she came on board today on her status and actually said that she is okay. So she's healing from all of this, from the shooting that happened in Lagos.
Yeah, so there was Club Cubana in Lagos. Burna Boy and his people, his entourage were there, and this lady had come into the country with her own husband, her partner, who she's married to. You know, so they were all chilling at this place in VIP, and so it turns out Burna Boy had made a pass at her. She rebuffed his pass a couple of times, and it escalated to some physical conflict to the point that shots were fired, and the people in the lady's own team now got injured. Somebody got shot in his thigh. You know, there was a phone proof that the phone slowed down the bullets and it grazed somebody else's head. Turns out that the person that it grazed his head is the husband now of the lady, and so she came out today to break the news on what happened. You know, so yes,
Burna Boy is yet to address the issues, and his fans are saying that they will not believe whatever the woman is saying until they hear from Burna Boy and see the CCTV footage from the club.
Yes, and the club too did not say anything. You know, when this issue happened.
But do you really blame the club? It's a VIP club. So they will try to protect the privacy and the interest of their VIP clients.
But when shooting has occurred,
and it's become public. Yes, it's become public. You've been mentioned.
Yes, they'll rather cooperate with the police than
so far
bring out their clients.
So far, the police has arrested their personnel.
Okay.
And you wonder where in a club you'd go to a club, they would have to check you for all these weapons and everything, and yes, they allow somebody come with a loaded gun.
That's another perspective. Is that safe?
It's not safe. And this is a club you sell alcohol. The person handling that weapon can drink, and anything can happen.
And I think most importantly, it speaks to the dangers women face when they go out. Because this woman, she's with her husband, and yes, she's not protected. Yes, as in, if most of the time women complain that when men are asking them out, they get scared. And people are like, why are you so paranoid? But now this kind of incident,
a group of men.
Yes, and yet she was still protected.
Yes, she was still.
No matter how you try to, as in, resist advances, even when you are trying to be polite, you don't even know the aftermath. What's going to happen.
And people actually blamed her. You know, people said it was her fault.
Yes, and some people said the way she was dressed, that she did, as in the way she was dressed,
that
she was the one that put her husband in that.
But she's going to a club. When you go to club, where is it? You dress like you're going to club, not like you're going to the market.
It is happening, or people having, or definitely it might be a fan-based thing, supporting their own because he is a star. Imagine if it is somebody out of the ordinary, he's a nobody, and he's making advances at somebody's wife. I'm sure they'll beat him up.
And most of these celebrities, they seem entitled because they have a lot of women that want to be with them. So when they see the one that doesn't want to be with them,
it's like no problem.
You're losing the ego.
You're
losing the ego.
Okay, so this is something of what happened according to Briella. After taking out time to heal and process the event that occurred between my partner, my best friend, and my husband, and her husband, and Burna Boy at Cubana Group, Cubana Lagos nightclub in Victoria Island, Lagos. We were visiting Nigeria from America and London for our childhood. And on the 18th of June, 2022, 8th of June, Burna Boy and his friends opened fire at us in Cubana, Lagos. My partner and his friends were shot, with both needing urgent medical care. A bullet grazed my partner's head, and our friends were shot in the thigh, leaving him hospitalized and needing an emergency surgery in Nigeria. So she went on and on to tell her story, what happened in that nightclub. And the last part where she said, on the first attempt, I told him, okay, on the first, I told him I wasn't interested in talking to Burna Boy, and I am married to my partner. It came again the second time and the third time, and there were words back and forth. She mentioned that. And at the end of the day, what happened still happened. That is a story out there, and people are reacting. And so let us hear from you what you think about the story. What should be the next line of action? Who should be releasing statement? Because at the end of the day, people are calling the Cubana Club should release a statement following the shooting. Burna Boy should say something.
Yeah, and I mean, even beyond the statement too. I mean, this is a crime because some people
crime.
were hurt. Weapons were used, in a public space. And against unarmed people, at least we can just assume that they were unarmed too, because there was no return fire, right?
Yes.
So it's like, what happens now to these people that were hurt? Who isn't paying for their medical trip? And what will happen to these police officers? These policemen?
They've been arrested.
Yes, they've been arrested. And of course, I mean that might be internal. But at the end of the day, how does this not happen again? How do we ensure that such things don't happen
Why
again?
should celebrities even have so much security details attached to them?
I mean,
we have a
even-
lot of security challenges.
Even beyond celebrities now, is about celebrities now in this case will be in quotes, because it's like once you reach a certain level in society, you can employ the services of security personnel.
But the IGP has already said it, that he has made a directive that they should withdraw
Yes,
their
personnel.
So why do we see our police personnel attached to celebrities, not even a
with
politician,
weapons?
but a celebrity for that matter?
But even the people, this lady and her gang, she actually mentioned that they came with their own security details.
Was it policemen?
But they were not allowed to come into, so they were outside.
So
they
that's another thing. Yes.
And all. All right.
Yeah.
So those are the stories we have for today. Yes, we looked at the placeholder VPs. Yes, that was one story we looked at. We looked at Father Mbaka and the Adoration Ministry they shut down, and also the ban from the Bishop of the Enugu, actually as Bishop Callistus Onaga. I mean, when people came out saying Onaga was going, I saw that placard. I was like, okay, Onaga is the man. And also, we also looked at the story of Burna Boy, and the first story we looked at was it
Ameerah debunking Ameerah's kidnapping claims.
Ameerah's claims. So yes, any of the stories, you feel free to react to any of them, and we will take your comments as we see them, even after the show is done.
Yeah, the conversation continues. Thank you so much for following the program today. The updates will be back again with another edition next week.
My name is Sylvia Ishebi.
I am Mark Chidrinda.
And I am Nihoma Okeje.
My name is Hilda Kati.
The show was produced by Hafsat Isa. Thank you for listening. Bye.
The Update. Breaking news.